Except the whole thing's off to a bad start, and all of a sudden whatever Isabella claimed dwelling in this mansion becomes the least of my concerns. Of all the cabbies in Luxburn, I have to chance upon the superstitious one. Okay. Does this mean I can fast forward? Ah, they would've. Isabella and him would have gotten along so well. So well. Okay. The party's not going to be much different until the end. What was this? Ah. Ashton never reacted to any of the boyfriend stuff. But his reason's clear to me now. Still, the heat of a blush creeps up my cheeks, a denial ready, despite wanting it to happen so badly myself.
What? No, that's ridiculous. He isn't my boyfriend.
He's not entirely clueless about it, I know. He won't be harboring affections for someone else if he is. Only those that aren't of his own escapes him.
What was it again?
Something with an A. No wonder I lost him to someone else long before my own feelings are known. And then, I go and act as if I'm entitled to any of it. Yep. Okay, so this is when things start to change again. The commotion doesn't go further, despite the drunk woman appearing like she has plenty more venom to spill. In a little while, security shows up, escorting her out. Apparently she's the chief inspector's wife, too. As if this whole thing can't get any more fucked up than it already is. What a mess. But the damage has been done, and beyond the repercussions this will bring, I'm more worried about Hana. Maybe Luke, too, in part. I've seen the man that hides behind his self-importance, and it is someone who cares for the person who stands beside him. No matter how questionable that is now. Though sometimes mere affections aren't enough.
And I've had enough of you!
Enough!
So guess what? Fuck you, Luke!
Wow. It censored her. Oh, there it is.
We agreed to never talk of this woman!
Did we? I don't remember.
I don't know how long this has been going on. I don't know either of them well to judge for myself. I'm simply an outsider who happens to have some kind of connection with both of them.
Face it, Lucille Mitchell-Wright. You owe me everything.
I owe you everything. I owe you everything? Who's running the business now while you sit at home like a pretty princess?
If I recall, you told me to retire so that I can enjoy my time as Mrs. Luke Wright.
I wouldn't even bother with other women if you were still Hannah Evans! You used to be your own woman! You used to be someone who I could fucking look up to! Now look at you! If I wanted some brainless bint, I'd go to the whorehouse and play any old strumpet like a fucking fiddle. That's all you are now. A brainless, good-for-nothing.
But the second Hana raises her hand, I know it's far too late to save an already crumbling relationship. Long before her palm connects with his cheek. Ooh, so loud. The sound of it echoes throughout the whole ballroom, loud enough to silence everyone. The quiet does not persist, however, and in an instant, Luke orders every guest out.
That's it! This party is over! Everybody leave before I have you all thrown out!
They're shuffling, a minute of reluctance from every head in the room. But in the end, his anger forces everyone to comply. Chatter explodes throughout the whole foyer once the door has been promptly shut. Worried murmurs, clicking of tongues, and inappropriate gossip filters through the thick tension in the room. I couldn't care less about any of it. Besides, it's pretty obvious what the topic is. Most of them haven't even left the premises and they're already talking about it. Tomorrow it'll be on the news for sure, in every local broadsheet and tabloid in Luxburn. Simply thinking about it already gives me a headache. When the shock is faded, I just feel bone-tired. I've accomplished nothing of what I've come here for, and Ashton's nowhere to be found. I'm not sure what pisses me off more. That he ignored me the whole evening and might have just left without saying anything, or knowing he obviously has some other motive for being here. Can't he at least trust his own friends for that?
He didn't have to hide it from me.
The only relief to be had in this, perhaps, is Zachary's comforting smile when he approaches. Zach! He appears as disturbed when he stands beside me, fiddling with the buttons on his camera, even though the device is off.
Eventful night, huh?
You can say that again. It was awful.
He pauses for a moment, stares at me intently. Then he laughs, a tired one, but filled with humor in spite of what we've witnessed.
Let me guess. Ashton.
Oh, what makes you think he's my problem?
Just a hunch.
Story update.
And, it's all in your face, actually.
Why does he have to? I don't understand that man anymore.
Correct.
Like I always say, you should just...
Oh, you can bet your ass we're going to have a very long talk. I'm not letting him off easy this time.
I'm sure he has a good reason. He won't say it, but he likes being around us. Heck, we're probably the only people he likes. He ain't gonna ruin that for something stupid. He can be dense, but he ain't dumb.
But that's exactly what I've been telling people, isn't it?
We'll see about that. Let's just go. Are you done here?
Yeah, no, you stay in when...
Just then, the door to the ballroom slams open, and a very irate Luke marches out into the foyer. By now, most of the guests have trickled out of the mansion, leaving only a few loitering around the room. With his fury still at its peak boiling point, it's only natural he'll zero in on the tallest person within his temper's blast radius. Although he's not really making an effort not to let the remaining people in the hall hear his tirade.
Well, well, still here, I see. Having a grand time, aren't we? Every bloody goss in this fucking city has something to talk about tomorrow. Great news day, isn't it? I wonder what the headlines will be. Cheating husband lashes out at poor wife.
I ain't a part of the media, sir. Miss Wright only hired me for the photos, nothing more.
Oh, the photos, of fucking course. How could I forget? Darling wifey needs a bloody souvenir, doesn't she? Something to remind her of how she humiliated her asshole of a husband.
I'm sure it ain't like that, sir. Hannah's... No one expected...
Hand it over.
The camera?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you also deaf? Do I always have to spell everything out to you peasants? Hand the blasted thing over! All of you! If I see one picture, even a single shot of a fucking spoon tomorrow, you will all lose more than your jobs! Now give me the bloody camera!
I can't do that, sir. I do freelance work, and this is my...
Do I look like I give a shite? Give it to me, or...
Becca, hit him with a book.
I wonder what Kylie will say if she sees Tio Luke right now.
Justice for Zach. For a short second, he looked surprised to find me there. To be honest, I didn't realize I've spoken either until he turns a livid glare on me. A lesser person will probably cower under it. I will too, perhaps, in another situation where he isn't throwing insults at my friend. That one I simply can't let go of.
Oh, Daisy, oh, Daisy. Do you always have to butt in on other people's discussions?
I didn't hit you this time.
I wouldn't have to if there was actually one happening right now. It's pretty one-sided, eh? A bit offensive, too, if you ask me.
Woman, why don't you just bugger off? No one cares what your opinion is, especially in my home.
You don't have to worry about that, Mr. Luke Wright. I don't have any plans of staying longer. I'm only here to fetch my friend. I wasn't expecting to see an asshole standing beside him, though.
Rebecca, you really don't have to.
Oh, no, you shut your trap. Let her say what she wants. I'd love to hear it. That feisty attitude is going to take you places, Daisy.
Like to the grave.
Fair warning, though, woman, and I've said this plenty of times.
There's a pause as he steps closer, staring me down with almost little to no effort. I do my best to hold it, but I won't deny flinching at the tone he takes once he lets loose the next words from his mouth.
Threats do not work on me.
Then and there, I believe him. that this man is capable of doing so much more than what any intimidating remark I can lob at him.
So if you don't have anything worth my while to say, it'd be in your best interests if you remove you and your precious friend from my property. Now, before I get the security to drag you out.
Another person takes that decision out of my hands.
Come on, Becca. He ain't worth your time.
Without wasting time, Zachary pulls me away from him. By the time I've regained my senses, he's already tugging me by my wrist towards the wide-open doors. The stubborn part in me, however, the part who has seen the kind of person he is when he's with Kylie, refuses to withdraw without flinging in a last retort.
And here I thought you were a halfway decent guy. Whatever happened to the person his goddaughter looks up to?
He was never there, Daisy.
Ouch.
That man died a long time ago. You're better off not looking for him.
I won't. I have no intention to, but I can't resist the urge to glance back before I leave. If only to have one last look at the man he really is. Perhaps I should be thankful this brief acquaintance isn't going anywhere. But the instant I turn my gaze on him, I see it. Ah, that again. Looming, hovering over his shoulders, drawn to him like a moth to a flame. Like the first time I've stepped inside this place in search of Isabella. He was there too, wasn't he? That man, along with his wife and another person, Miss McCullough? And that shadow. No, a woman now. Her. No longer a dark blur. Terror rushes through every vein in my body. A crippling sensation gripping every part of me, while she stares at me with a glare filled with nothing but hate and venom. It's like staring at the eyes of a woman I've unknowingly robbed of something precious. I try to say something. A warning. But Zachary is already leading me out of the foyer, oblivious. And before I can gather my wits and voice it out, someone shuts the door behind us. As if to keep outsiders away from the secrets this mansion possesses. Alright. Well, justice for Zach, apparently. Okay, so Marianne's dead. A fuming Luke Wright was seen storming out of the ballroom after his spat with his wife. Thinking Zachary was part of the media, Luke demanded that he surrender his camera. Rebecca defended her friend, but before leaving the estate, she caught a glimpse of a shadow standing behind Luke. Zach, where is... Okay, so Hannah dies tomorrow. And Zach is still like a few days away. The brush of fresh air against my cheeks does little to dampen the chill in my bones. By now, the sensation, the fear and disquiet, it leaves whenever I see her is familiar enough for me. Already it has made a home in my nerves. I don't even notice my trembling hands until Zachary points it out to me.
Rebecca? You okay? You ain't looking too good. You're shaking.
Hastily, I retract my hands from his hold, crossing my arms across my chest instead in some lame attempt to keep the smallest of movements down. The cold from the tips of my fingers seep through the thick material of my shirt regardless. Neither of it helps bring together some semblance of coherent thought in my head.
Don't worry about it. I'm good. Zachary, did you see anything back there?
Oh, about what happened in the ballroom? Or...
No, not that. In the foyer, right behind... Never mind. You go ahead of me. Someone has to warn him. I'll just catch a cab on my own.
Warn him of what? Wait, Rebecca, did you forget something in there? I can...
I turn away and walk before he can stop me with a word of protest. It's not wise. Coming back, that is, especially after what happened. But Hannah's still an old friend, and Luke? Luke's neither a friend or an enemy. Just an acquaintance who doesn't deserve whatever misfortune that letter might bring. I can't just leave those two in there. Isabella's right. She's real, and there's something she wants from everyone who has read that.
What took you so long? Let's go. I'll get the both of you back to the city.
My mistake, the second his voice cuts through the crisp night air, is that I've allowed my annoyance to get the better of me. Fuming, with my purpose forgotten, I whirl around and march towards him. One accusation after another piles up at the tip of my tongue, ready to be hurled at any moment. There's no hesitation holding me back when I fling it at him. That straight face he keeps as I do so doesn't help temper my anger either. It only makes me want to slap some more sense into him.
Shouldn't we be the one asking you that?
Becca, I've been waiting here the whole time. I told you I hate parties like...
And before that, where have you been the entire evening?
Right then and there, I might have forgiven him, if he'd shown some ounce of remorse for leaving me like that. Maybe he could have looked away, given me a sign that my assumptions might be right. He doesn't even need to put them into words. A single gesture of confirmation is all I need. Rather, what I get is the same impassive look. He does that whenever he can't disclose anything. He does that whenever he's lying. In the face of it, amidst the thick tension, a frustrated huff is the only thing I can summon.
Be that way. Fine. Suit yourself. But don't you dare think this will be the end of this. We'll talk about this tomorrow, and you better have a proper answer for me by then.
No more words. After everything I've seen and heard tonight, I'm already too exhausted for those. Interesting, so we didn't have the conversation with Ash. So without speaking any further, I simply stomp over his car and climbed inside, slamming the door behind me with as much force as my anger can show. They both follow after, and shortly we're on our way back to the city, as we all left together. Yet even with city's bright lights welcoming us, the dense, somber air from the mansion still lingers. The moon is almost at its highest by the time we reach Salemwell. Zachary has asked to be dropped off first, the moment we've entered downtown Luxburn. Though he never mentions anything and has only words of thanks for us, he probably doesn't want to get caught in another spat between Ashton and I. It's all too clear in his face, the poor man. I'll have to apologize for subjecting him to that some other time. I think he's also hoping we'd be able to fix this without him around. Oh, how wrong he is. Even after our respective heads have cooled off, the atmosphere within the car remains rife with unspoken tension. This isn't a problem so easily fixed with a few handshakes. Quite frankly, I don't know what will. Ashton himself has no idea what to do when he alights and dawdles awkwardly in the middle of the car park, unsure. It almost seems like he's having an internal debate, whether he should say goodbye or mutter another apology. I could have driven him away, purely out of spite, the second I've gotten off. Still, old habits die hard. Are we back around?
This again? It's been a week, Becca.
I thought we already agreed that was a dumb Halloween prank. No need to bring in the old guy.
Yeah. Don't give me sass, ass. Did I call him ass instead of Ash? Ashhole. If Isabella were still with us, what would she say? Would she blame us for not listening? That it cost us a life, her life, for any of us to begin heeding any of it. It all stems from that one moment in the movie house, doesn't it? We could have avoided this had we only taken her warnings to heart. One stupid mistake is all it took to send our normal lives on a downward spiral. Frankly, I'm no longer sure if I'm angry at myself for it or at the universe for throwing us into this mess. But we can only make do with what little we have, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Going here might not be the best decision, but it's a start.
A good start.
Alright. This should be basically the same up until the choice. Ah! Oh, this is the end for Becca. Okay, so this is... So, Zach's been caught. Ooh, Ashton's gonna find out about these two deaths very close together. I'm gonna do the stupid thing and head for the stairs. There are people upstairs, aren't there? The weekend staff or some volunteer? There should be. Even if it's a Sunday and I'm only here on a special permit, there should be at least one other person manning this place. I heard them a while ago. Of course, I couldn't possibly tell them about this. They won't believe me in the same manner we didn't buy Isabella's stories until it's too late. But I can easily come up with excuses. For now, what's important is I don't end up trapped and alone with her.
Safety in numbers, as they say.
There's no hesitation in my steps as I race upstairs, ears straining for any signs or sounds of the woman appearing, jumping at me again at any second. I can still hear her behind me, the grinding of bones, her whispers as she keeps calling me back. Although it's at a distance, I don't slow my pace, library rules be damned. Because no matter how much I pretend to be brave, the level-headed one or the tough one, this terrifies me. This scares me more than anything. This isn't how I plan to die. But when I get to the 3rd floor, only silence welcomes me, and an emptiness that stretches out far too wide, spanning the entirety of the floor for it to be reassuring. And just behind me, somewhere at the foot of the stairs, oh god, panic rises up my throat. No other way now but up. So I bolt, desperation kicking in without warning. I take 2 steps at a time, tripping clumsily over some of it in my last-ditch attempt to escape. But I know, at the back of my mind, I know all of this is futile. With every footfall, with every ragged breath, with every pounding of my heart, it gets hammered to my mind. And it only becomes clearer to me once the door at the end opens, revealing the vast expanse of Luxburn's early morning skyline, and with her treading at my heels, blocking my only way out.
Stay away from me!
Oh, she's calling Ash. A useless plea. Does she even understand a word I say? Can she even? Is she still human in the first place? She understands. Somehow I doubt it. Because no human being will ever do this. And if she ever was, with what she did to Isabella, I don't believe an ounce of it still remains in her. Simply imagining what she's capable of doing to us, I never want to give her that chance.
I'm telling you to back off!
Her gait is slow as she walks forward, each stride accompanied by a sound of breaking bones, of blood oozing from wounds that never found healing. And with every inch she draws nearer, even as I pull away to take back what little distance I can between us, the smile on her merely grows wider. A mocking gesture. For me. She may be less of a human now, but I'm pretty sure she's fully aware she's got me cornered. She wouldn't even bother making it here if she isn't. But I can't look away. I can't bring myself to, even as the heel of my shoe eventually hits the edge. End of the line. Trapped. Alone. So this is how it ends, huh? Quietly and without fanfare. Surrounded not by a warm breeze, but a chilly morning air. No soft footfalls on an empty hallway, but the din of the early morning traffic below. No warm afternoon light. Nothing but the cold, pungent smell of death, all underneath a dreary morning sky. How fitting. Yet amidst all of it, there's a single voice I want to hear. If only for the last time. If I'm gonna die here, I want to hear him talk to me.
Becca?
Hey, did I wake you up?
Oh my goodness, you're not even gonna tell him, you're just like, hi!
No, I left you a voicemail, so I thought, where are you?
The one I grew up with. Who always got grades better than I did without even trying. Whose silly antics I have to put up with all these years. Who stood by me even when things got tougher. That one person who's been a constant in my life.
Ash, do you remember that one time?
That's right.
The what?
Back in secondary, we joined a contest back then, didn't we? We had to dress you up as a girl and...
No.
What? You looked really pretty. I think I still have that picture somewhere.
Burn it. We're not talking about that again. You promised. Seriously, what brought this on?
Nothing. It's just the first thing I remembered.
So weird. Despite everything, my lips curl up into a smile. Faint. A sad little thing on its own, given the situation. Because even at the very end, I know I have this. The casual talk, the friendly banter. Talking like how we always would as children. If only I haven't been too selfish. If only I haven't taken all of this for granted in favor of my feelings. Then perhaps I won't be regretting anything now.
You're being weird today, Becca. Whatever. Listen, I need you to go home right away. I'm at Salem Well right now and...
I wish time would simply stop for us. There are still a lot of things I want to say. Things I've never bothered saying out loud. Things I should have said a long time ago to someone who has always been by my side. But in this moment, there's only one.
Thanks, Ash.
One thing's constant.
Hold on, did I do something?
For everything.
Rebecca, what?
I'm so glad to have known you.
Wait, what are you? God damn it, Rebecca, where are you?
She just hung up. You could have told him, I'm about to die. I'm sorry. Becca. Oh my god, he's gonna think you committed suicide at this rate. Oh, trapped and with nowhere else to go, Rebecca called the one person who always had a special place in her heart. All to say thank you, if only for the last time. Also, thank you, Ghost Lady, for letting Becca make a very important phone call and waiting to, push her off the edge. A soft click. And I'm closing my eyes. Or did she jump before the ghost got her? There's a rush of air. The sound of the world dimming around me. Like a song coming to its inevitable end.
London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady.
What the heck? What the heck? Oh boy. So it looks like they beat her fiance and the maid to a bloody pulp. Killed a cat to make it look like she's a witch? I mean, black cats and dead cat. I think that's all associated with witchcraft. Because she was burned for being a witch, I believe. And this is in the jail cell below the mansion. What happened between these two? Oh, man. I have a lot of questions about this one. Oh, what a cruel song to hear as she felt her death. Good grief. No journal entry for that, eh? Well. Let's see. Because if Luke writes so much as harms a hair on either Zach's or Rebecca's heads, there will be hell to pay. He might have already done so with Isabella, and I wasn't able to do a single thing to keep her safe. I can't let the same mistake happen. I doubt he'll attempt anything in front of other people, though. Because his reputation and things. What's this? I've lost track of how many counts of verbal abuse and harassment cases this guy could be pinned with. Fuck, he even tried to make a move on Isabella back in the open house. Right in front of his wife. Standing in the same room as him doesn't make me want to punch him any less. So he saw that pass. Interesting. Oh, he left before the fight broke out. Interesting. I don't want this to end here. If this might still have a connection with what happened to Isabella like I first assumed. Chasing a real person is easier than chasing those supernatural things, and I hope to God I'm right on this one.
I just want to know, sir, at the party, with Luke and Hannah right, you were...
Monday, Detective Inspector. First thing in the morning. Every copy of the files you have, I want to see it all on my table, understood?
This isn't...
Frey, am I understood?
What else can I do other than smile and nod? with my own superior expecting an answer, using that tone, brushing my questions off as easy as discarding a dead body.
Yes. Yes, sir.
And he cuts the line. Oh, we run into you, eh? This is before everything goes wrong. Well, I can at least do this for you.
It's confidential, Rebecca.
Not that it matters anymore, but... It's the knowledge that catching the criminal won't bring back the dead, won't suddenly make everything right again.
I know you have a mountain of questions, but I've told you this so many times before. I can't say much more than that.
Still, that look. Okay. Hell, I've already failed Isabella. Even without my life in her eyes that night, I could still... Even without any life in her eyes that night, that makes more sense. I could still see the accusation in them. Ash, that's all in your head, man. What a mess. I'm a mess, and it's the people close to me who have to suffer for it.
I guess, if that's the case, there's nothing much I can do about it.
But looking at the closed door of Isabella's apartment, I couldn't bring myself not to act. And after Rebecca's claims last night, if I lose another person important to me because I didn't listen, there wouldn't be enough regret in the world. Fuck, I can still see Isabella's lifeless eyes staring back at me.
Well, glad to hear you're talking to someone, at least. Even if it's not me. You sure you're not bothering the professor or anything? Don't you be a cheeky brat now. I'm sure he's a very busy man. You pointed that out yourself last night.
Becca, even if he is, you know he'll make time for me. I'm his favorite after all, aren't I?
Dang. An attempt to keep things light again. Bad move, apparently. All I get in response to that is a roll of her eyes and a door being slammed shut in my face.
I probably deserve that.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. Displeasure. We'll just have to fix this some other time. By then, her temper's sure to have cooled off significantly. Hopefully. The only reason it's cooled off because her body's also cool. Ugh. For now, I can't laze around. Gotta attend to things that matter more. Find things. Find Professor Clark, deliver the bad news. Then maybe I'll also drop by Zach's. Check on him, hear what he has to say. He has also read that damn letter. Has also been saying odd things about a bunch of photographs. I might as well, while I'm here playing a paranormal detective? Or was it supernatural? I can't remember. Whatever. It wouldn't hurt anyone if I tried to get to the bottom of this. And nothing comes out of this good. Everyone can shut up about stupid curses and we can finally get back on track with our lives. On to more important stuff. If there is something...
I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
And so, with a last deep draw of breath, I step out into the morning, setting aside my own problems for now, all while carrying a new set of uncertainties within me. If I'm lucky, and Professor Clark has no other obligations today, I know just where to find him. Okay. Have we not done this yet? I thought we did talk to him, didn't we? Am I imagining stuff? Oh, maybe we called him. I think we called him maybe instead of... I can't remember. It's been too many timelines. A moderate crowd has already gathered at the park by the hour I arrive. People walking their dogs, kids playing a game of tag, and a few who are simply content to lay in their blankets with a book in hand. Cheers and laughter, mostly from children and families, lends the place with some kind of a warm atmosphere. I tend to avoid the park precisely because of this. No use reminding myself of the could-haves when it's already over. No, we have done this. We did meet him in person. Have we really not? Maybe it's because it's a different timeline, so I was like, no, you need to read this again. Mom's doing well with her career. Dad's also fine the last time I visited. Although neither remarried, they're both content with their lives as it is. I'm probably the only one still caught up with it, hence my aversion. But all in all, it's still a pleasant sight to see, if you're the kind who takes joy in such sights. Professor Clark does, and as expected, I find him enjoying a walk around the place moments later. He stops as soon as he sees me, a small grin spreading across his face when I approach, his hand raised in casual greeting.
Not running today, Professor?
Oh, no, not today.
Just thought I'd enjoy the nice weather before it takes a turn for the norm again. And to what do I owe the pleasure?
The guy certainly looks happy right now, in any case. I almost don't want to break the news to him. But it's better to get this off quick, as long as he doesn't shoot the messenger. He's not the type. However, long-held resentment can change a person, even someone as mild-mannered as the professor.
Maybe we should sit down first.
With a slight gesture of my hand, I lead the two of us to a nearby bench, away from anyone who might want to listen in. Not that there is much to hear, it's just for the sake of his privacy. He's had enough of the city's tattlers 10 years ago. There's definitely no need to feed more fuel to a fire that has already died down years ago. I wait for him to take the empty space beside me before starting. Instead, he spares a moment to give me a once-over, quiet and unblinking during his scrutiny. It reminds me of all those times he has done the same back when I was still his student. I try not to flinch, meanwhile. Once he's done, he simply raises a hand, reaching up to correct his glasses. A habit, as I've learned many years ago. He does that once he's found what he's searching for. A nervous tick or an odd stain on one's person. Something to tell him about the one in front of him. The art of keen observation? I learned it from the man. It's very likely that he already has an idea of what this might be about, from my appearance and expression alone. Despite this, he allows me to speak first and wordlessly takes the open seat beside me, a smile still on his face as he watches the scene in front of us. Funny how the world simply goes on while we sit here with this shadow looming over us.
I was hoping to talk to you about the case.
Can I really not?
You aren't in trouble, are you?
Yeah. So all of this is new, apparently. Okay. I suppose I'm just the downer today. As soon as I say those words, a look of concern replaces his cheery expression. For a second, I hesitate, looking at the dirt beneath my shoes. But I manage eventually. After a long, ragged draw of breath, I pick up where I've left off, though still fumbling with my words.
Well, I'm in a bit of trouble, if you can call it that.
He quickly raises a questioning brow at that.
But I'm not in danger or anything.
You've said that same excuse a million times before, Detective Inspector. Those circles under your eyes and your slouch tell a different story.
It's nothing like what you're thinking. Don't worry. I was taken off the Luxborn firm case.
I expect anger, frustration, maybe even disappointment. But all he gives me is a small sigh of relief.
Is that so? Well, at least you aren't in danger. Liz wouldn't be too happy as she saw you like this right now.
Liz. Aunt Liz, she insisted I call her, his late wife. A sweet-tempered woman by so many standards. They were never blessed with kids and contented herself with simply managing their bakery. But she's the closest I had to a mom in the few years I had known her. The professor, too. In the absence of my own parents in my life, the two filled the ache their separation left in me.
Believe me, you'll get an earful if you show up looking like that on her doorstep.
How many years has it been since? 9? 10? I can still remember it vividly. Two men, primly dressed, briefcases in hand, and a stern look on each of their faces. They were already frequent visitors to the bakery for a few months. Something about the lot being a prime property in downtown Luxburn. I think they were hoping to settle a deal with them, but neither of the couple gave in to their demands. Why should they? That quaint little shop was a dream for them. Aunt Liz sent me home early that night after a fruitless wait for the professor. The next morning, news of a bakery razed to the ground had spread across the whole city. One casualty. A few weeks later, the property was sold to Wright Enterprise. A fucking hotel now stands in its place. Of course, an investigation was launched after the incident. The name Luke Wright was briefly at the center of it, but with the lack of any evidence, the case ultimately went cold. The professor hides it well. However, I can tell that he hates that man to this day. He might even blame Luke Wright for every tragedy that happens in the city. He has never blamed me, though, when I'm equally as responsible. I knew something's off the moment those men stepped inside the shop. I could have saved her that night. I could have prevented anything from happening to her, called for help, or whatever. I didn't. So it continues to eat at me until today. The guilt. The Luxburn firm case would have been our chance at reopening that old case so we could prove Luke Wright of his crimes. Instead, we're back to square one. Yet all he has for me are words of comfort. To think he can still be this concerned about me after my carelessness, after I've broken another promise a second time. People never cease to amaze me.
You might think that you have failed as an officer. Or maybe you think that you have failed me. And you know more than anyone. I would love to see that man taken down. If anyone deserves to be tried in high court, it's him. Goodness knows what awful things he's done. But I'm glad nothing's happened to you while you were working on this. That's what's most important. I'd hate to get news like that again.
Suddenly he stops. A thoughtful look flashes in his eyes as he thumbs the wedding band on his ring finger before he continues. Another habit. He has never removed it since that day, has never thought once to remarry, even when he managed to continue with his life and return to some semblance of normalcy. It's his way of honoring her, I suppose, when he couldn't bring to justice the man responsible for his loss. Some people are just hard to forget. And I understand that now.
It's not like another death. Yours or even his will bring back my wife.
That's a neat angle, him talking through the ring. Silence falls between us afterwards. I don't quite know what to say after that, really. Should I apologize? Show some sympathy? Going into this, I should have thought of something other than just breaking the news to him. As it is, it seems the only thing we can do is feel sorry for each other's misfortunes. In another occasion, under different circumstances, I might have accepted that, but...
And I don't know if I've told you yet, but the one in the news recently, the girl, she's the one you brought with you, yes? From almost a week ago. Miss Santos.
You remember.
I remember her saying she was their real estate agent. I've just heard about it. Although, for what it's worth, I'm sorry about what happened to your friend. I don't know if this has anything to do with it. But if this is that man's doing...
Professor, please.
They come out more strained than usual, more than what I'm accustomed to when speaking to the older man. Maybe if things around me hadn't started going beyond my control, the letter, the mansion, the supposed curse behind those, I'd still be quick to blame it all on the bastard too. But as much as I want to keep holding him responsible for it, to add another to his list of sins...
Please don't finish that.
All this time I've prided myself over being the one to always know. But ghosts and curses? These are things completely out of my depth. Professor Clark's right in some way. Things would be so much easier if we just blamed Luke Wright for all of this. At least finding evidence would be a breeze, and I'd be all too happy to put him in a place he belongs. Although, if he was, in any way, also complicit to what happened to her, legalities have my hands tied. But maybe that's my fault. I might have missed the ticket to closing the case once and for all last night. If only I had done a better job during the party. But then, the commotion. There was Hannah Wright and Rebecca distracting me from my purpose, too. I'd include that gate crasher as well, even though it's only for a moment. So many things have gone wrong last night that...
This isn't a prank! I saw something! See? This is why I didn't want to tell you guys! It's not a joke! Will you guys listen to me first? I saw something in the house earlier. It stood right in front of me. If I hadn't gotten away, that thing might have...
Last night. At the party.
But it's real! What do you think I saw? It happened after, when I was trying to get away. I almost got stuck in the same room with that thing. We're all in danger. I thought you were my friends. Why don't you believe me?
That woman.
Why don't we all calm down first? I'm sure Isabella has her reasons too. No need to be hard on her.
Shit. If that was what Isabella had been warning us about, if it was the same thing Rebecca talked about last night, or what Zach told me about a few days ago, how many of these instances have I dismissed since reading the letter? How many have I ignored and passed off as some effect of fatigue or lack of sleep? Even last night, a hallucinogen lacing the food is the first thing I considered, purely because that's what my training dictates. It's a mindset I've grown used to, It's the setting the gears in my head automatically takes in a situation like that. Of course, I'm not discounting all of that yet until I have enough information. Something to form a conclusion from. Proof, in whatever form it may come. But thinking straight is impossible when all of a sudden all your beliefs are being upturned. In the most violent way possible at that. Jesus, I need a sounding board. I need to talk to someone, and Zach's the best person for that.
I have to go.
Already? Wait, Ashton, where are you?
Bye! Thanks for the repeat of your conversation. Along with the realization, okay. I don't have time to stop and listen to what the professor has to say as I bolt up and run like a bat out of hell. Getting back to my car in record time, I don't waste a second to hit the road and drive to Zach's place. If any one of us knows anything about what's going on, who can help sort the muddled mess my mind is, it's gotta be him. He listened to Isabella. Okay. So this should be new too, because we don't have Bella with us. Yeah. Zach's the kind who prefers to laze around his apartment on a weekend, especially after having a busy week like the last one. The big guy's nowhere in sight when I arrive, though. Figures. People don't seem to be where they should be when I need them. Looking around, I find no sign where he might have gone to. He usually leaves a note on his fridge if he's out for the day, just in case someone drops by. As there isn't one, he probably just went out for a quick walk. I hope. Maybe he ran out of eggs or something and went out to buy some. He is out of eggs, after all. It puts my running mind to rest for a while. He always has to have some, be it for an omelet or something he's baking. All I can do is sigh as I close it behind me. I'm still worried for my friend, of course. The messy bed suggests he was out in a hurry. He didn't even bother to fold the sheets. His cell phone's been left behind as well. Another odd thing when he has made it a habit to never leave it behind in case a client calls.
At least the locked door points to the fact that it wasn't a forced exit.
I can take comfort in that, but not so much. Anything might happen, and completely letting my guard down is out of the question. In hindsight, I shouldn't have left Rebecca alone either. I'll have to check on her later. In the meantime, Zach. But with no other clue where he is, and no other way to contact him, I have no choice but to wait. Sure, I could give the room another thorough run-through, but I don't think Zach would appreciate me upending his place. Besides, I haven't eaten anything yet. Might as well take this chance to cool down a bit, right? Anything to distract myself so that I don't just charge headfirst because of whatever paranoid scheme that comes to mind. Returning to the kitchen, the first thing I see is a bag of chips when I rifle through his cupboards. After muttering a permission and an apology its owner won't hear, I grab it, set myself on his old couch, and turn on the television. The screen lights up right as some awful noontime drama starts airing on Channel 9. Nothing like sitting in front of the TV with a mindless drone running in the background to waste away the time. And waste it away I do. The afternoon has hit its last few hours when movement comes from the other side of the door and Zach's heavy treads break the monotonous dribble from the TV. The lock clicks, the knob turns, and slowly it swings open to reveal a very exhausted-looking Zach. What, did he run a marathon?
Sup, Z-Man?
Light as my tone might be, his arrival eases the restless edge in me. Who knows what I would have done if something bad happened to another one of my friends. Or two. If another minute had gone by without him showing up, I might have resorted to unconventional methods.
Ash, how many times do I have to tell you not to call me Z-Man? And stop breaking into my apartment! I'll call the cops on you, but doing that feels like a joke in itself because you are one.
I didn't. You gave me a key the last time I did that, remember?
After the last one you broke, I can't keep replacing the knob just because you think it'd be amusing to lockpick the hell out of it. And hey, is that my...
It's scary how the friendly banter and easy smile come naturally.
You ate all of it! I was saving that one for the weekend.
I'll replace it.
I do it, even without thinking. And that speaks volumes about how comfortable I am around him. That's nice, isn't it? What makes me afraid of it, however, is the idea that a time might come where I might just do these without even meaning to and offend him in some way. The friendship we have might be closer than most I've shared with others, but there are boundaries you can't cross without the other's permission. Zach's been respectful of that so far, neither asking about my parents or what happened to them. Me? I bet he'd say, not so much. It's also this easy banter that makes me wish we could just stay like this. No worries, no problems. Just potato chips and the debate on whether or not I deserve them. But as always, I have business. As soon as I see the chance, I take it and ask him about the odd things that have been happening lately, including that letter.
What did he say about the photographs?
Huh? Oh, there's no guarantee it's a supernatural thing. It doesn't always happen, so that's a dead end right there. Now that I think about it, bothering that guy for this feels pretty silly now. But with the dreams lately...
That's all? Did he say anything about the damn letter at all? Did you ask him even?
Yeah, that's really everything. The letter kind of slipped my mind. The photos were more important at that time. There was some stuff about the local horror stories, though. Talked about the curses, and he was really fascinated with the story about a wraith asking for a sacrifice to move on. Kinda nasty if you ask me, but it does make sense if you simply go along with it. I'm not sure how this will help in the grand scheme of things. Why are you asking about this anyway?
As expected, as we go through all this, Zach starts to look at me like I've grown a second head. Yeah, I would too, if there was ever a universe where I was standing in front of myself. Because even as a child, I never believed in ghost stories. The lucky charms and mystical objects from my mother have often been stored away or given as paltry gifts to those who would appreciate them more. Granted, I haven't eliminated every single possibility here yet, but what else is there to go off on from? I try to stomp down on the annoyance that comes from that thought alone. The worried look Zach shoots my way doesn't help one bit in helping me gather my thoughts either, when that's what I came here for. Somehow, everyone's just suddenly so worried about me. It's not like I'm pulling this out of my ass. If even Rebecca claims there's something shady going on, I'm inclined to believe there must be a scrap of truth to it. And when I look at those, along with Isabella's warnings, what happened to her, what's occurring around Zach, what has taken place around Luxburn since Isabella found the letter...
Have you seen the news this morning?
His puzzled expression is enough answer. Of course he hasn't. Another night, another nightmare. The guy most likely went out as soon as he got out of bed to shake the images off. The memories have never really left him. So, I show him, cycling through the channels until I find one doing a recap of this morning's reports. And there it is. The poor guy is unidentifiable with how badly his body's been burnt. Murder via arson? That's a logical explanation if I was the officer looking into it. Except they couldn't find the source of the fire. The fire didn't even spread.
Found dead in the early hours of the morning today. The fire was contained within the room and no other tenants were harmed, according to Luxburn police.
They're going to consider spontaneous human combustion soon enough if they don't find anything else. But what's important for everyone to note is the state of the room.
A similar writing was found in another victim's room from last week's incident. Both were employees of Briar Realty Corporation. LBN has reached out to the...
Like what happened to Cooper. And Isabella. Hell, I wonder how many other deaths like this that I've missed while I've been looking into Right. The LBD is already thinking it's a serial killer at this point. How long until they consult with the London Metropolitan, I'm not sure. The Anselm Butcher has always been an enigma, even to the people within this city. Gone for a few years, and then in the next one, body after another is found. Merely handling the case has apparently driven the chief inspector insane years ago. He never did find out who committed those murders. Maybe now, this time...
You think this is...
I don't know what to think, Zach.
In the next second, I'm up on my feet and pacing the span of the small room without thinking about it. My body just needs to be busy, moving about, burning out rather than burning my own brain out. Sometimes I do both, but moving helps. Keeps the brain running, healthy body, healthy mind. Or was it the other way around? Fuck, I can't even think coherently right now. I just know there's something. There must be. There has to be.
I should have looked into this when she was still here. Maybe none of this would have happened if I did.
The words slip out of my mouth before I can censor them. The guilt and sorrow. Feelings I won't let others even catch a glimpse of under normal circumstances, all laid bare in this one moment of weakness. Zach will say otherwise. He's always been the optimist, the one who sees the best in people. But such sentiments or any words of comfort won't change the truth. That a single instance of neglect and indifference has cost me someone really dear to me. Again. Zach is right to blame me for it. I'm the one who doesn't have any right to be angry. We've all been given our warning that day in that desperate pleading tone of hers, and I'm the first one who brushed it off. Still, like the usual, Zach tries. A benefit of the doubt I'm not worthy of.
Rebecca and I are still here. We'll manage, one way or another.
Don't make it sound so easy. We have no idea what we're dealing with here.
This is a whole fucking mess, and we're in it blind. The only way to make it worse is if we start running around like a bunch of headless chickens. But I have a concrete plan now, I think. Aside from those writings, there's another thing linking most, if not all, of those victims. The latter, I'll still have to look deeper into, of course. However, this little detail has been bothering me since Inspector Abigail pointed it out during briefing. Even the news has picked up on it. Most of the victims are employees of the same company before their untimely deaths. Briar Realty Corporation. However, my suspicions are mine for the moment. The details are something Zach doesn't need to know until I have something to show. It's enough that he's aware that I have an idea in mind. For his part, Z-Man doesn't push it, and nothing but a heavy silence leads my departure hours later. Seriously, Zach would probably make a more responsible officer than me if he only had the heart to join the force. We could certainly use more kind people like him. But as good as that thought is, I push all of it into the back of my mind as I head for my car. Tonight, I can't stay distracted,